Welcome back to Fast Market. I'm Diane King Hall. Tom White has the day off. I'm in alongside Kevin Haynes. Time now for Cash Tags. Joining us for Insight is Andy Swan, co-founder of LikeFolio. We're taking a look at United Airlines today. Shares up more than 10% this month. Stock is up today. The company reports earnings this afternoon. So, Andy, what are you paying attention to going into United's results?
Well, we got bullish on United about a year ago for three primary reasons. We saw strong business growth in their sales to corporate clients, really fast improving customer happiness levels, and a lot of that was the result of their effectively catering to both kind of the lower end buyer who just wants to get from point A to point B, and also catering to the premium buyer who wants a little bit better experience. And we're starting to see in air travel, especially, a real desire, a real growing appetite on part of the consumer for premium experiences. And I think United has done a very good job of addressing that ahead of the market, getting ahead of the customer, and providing that high quality experience to those who want to pay for it. So they're doing a great job of monetizing kind of both classes, to use a term, of flyer. But where we're at right now with United, it's been a great run, but it's been a very, very strong run and an almost hyperbolic run. When you look at United versus peers, especially over the last 3 months, the outperformance is staggering, and the performance of United has doubled or more in the past 6 months. We're kind of to the point where we think the trade on United may be coming to an end. It's been a great run. They've done a great job of executing, but there's better opportunities in the airline space right now, especially when we start to see a decline in the overall web visits to all of the airlines, including United. We think there's just a little bit of a yellow flag out there for travel in general.
Wow.
Andy, it's hard to look at the United chart and not be cautious or not be hesitant. But the valuations, right? A 13 PE, 8.5 times forward earnings, a runway going forward that looks pretty solid. And by the way, and Delta, a very highly correlated stock to United Airlines. You look at their charts; they're almost identical. They had a good earnings report, and the stock moved higher. What do we look at that, or do we say, yeah, I see 12 months up 180%, I see 6 months up 127%, and it's time to hit pause button here? What are your views? Because if you look at some of the metrics on valuations, still kind of cheap, Andy.
Yeah, it is. And United is turning into a really good company. Not something that we would have said 2 or 3 years ago. They were near the bottom of the pack in terms of customer happiness. A lot of ththings were going wrong for United. I think they've done a fantastic job of executing against a good vision. But it is, the latter of the two options that you gave me, and that is the stock is up so much, so fast, and so much more than peers. And so when you talk about, United coming into this with, 127% gain in the last 6 months versus Delta, which was significantly lagging that going into their earnings report, it becomes two different types of stories. And so for us, perfection looks like it's basically baked into the cake for United. When we look through the headlines of coverage of United, kind of that headline heat score, it's off the charts. I mean, everything out there is saying that you need to be buying United. United can move higher. United is going to move up after earnings. And so the contrarian in me says, okay, if everybody's on the same side of this trade, the stock's up 130% going into earnings, the risk is really very pronounced to the downside. Even on a good report and good outlook, there's always the opportunity that Wall Street takes an earnings report and says, we might take some profits here and reevaluate.
But Andy, there is something to be said for momentum. And then in terms of some of the read-through from Delta, I mean, you made the point about the premium and although you said the visits may be coming down a little bit, could that also be particular to just this time of year? Because overall, the travel trends seem to have remained that we've seen where this, it's become habitual. This, what's the term we use now? Not revenge travel, but whatever is the term that we use in this post-pandemic world. It seems like the travel has stuck around, and that United and Delta seem to be the leaders here. And if Delta gave us a read-through, it seems like it will be positive for United.
Yeah, I do think that Delta gave us a really nice preview. I think that United will have a very strong report. I think that Wall Street is expecting an extremely strong report. In terms of the web visits data that we gave you, down 9%, that's year over year. So that's January versus January. So it includes seasonality. It's not a huge deal. It's not, a red flag, but it just tells us that there's at least the possibility the consumer is starting to weaken when it comes to travel a little bit. So it'll be very interesting to see what United says looking forward with their outlook. But we expect them to post a good report. We expect a good outlook. We just don't think that it can clear the bar that Wall Street has set, which is extraordinarily high.
Yeah, Andy, one last thing. The revenue per seat mile, average revenue per seat mile, the average cost per seat mile, those are two metrics that people are going to derive margins from and how they're doing. And you've been on a plane lately, as I have, Andy. They upsell you everything. Nothing's free. The only thing free is the bathroom, as you know, Andy. Everything else costs money on that plane. So, those metrics, they seem, I've been on a couple full flights in the last couple of weeks, and there doesn't seem any break in that. And by the way, you've got airlines like Southwest that have struggled lately, probably some people moving over to other airlines. We know American Airlines is another quality company, but their balance sheet is not as attractive. So people seem to be settling on Delta and United. If those metrics happen, how sure are we that we're in a late stage? Because I did a measurement, Andy. Think about this. This stock, United Airlines stock, was overbought on the RSI from mid-December to mid-September to mid-December. So it spent like 3 months in overbought territory and still kept going up. This stock, if they put up the numbers, can really run, as you know.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think you both make great points. This is a great company that's executing at a really high clip. It's, all of the reasons that we got bullish on United a year ago still remain. In fact, they've executed better than we expected. And the momentum of the stock is up, and there's, a lot of times that can continue for a very long time. So, if we're going to put a bearish trade on going into earnings, we absolutely would want it to be risk defined, because we think that there's always the possibility that these momentum stocks can continue through earnings. But what we're saying right now is just United is a little different from the other airlines because of its stock performance, and because the data that we have is showing it weakening a little bit versus competitors. We expect a good report, but just we don't think it's going to be good enough for what Wall Street has in mind.
Okay, so proceed with caution. Yep. That's my takeaway there, and seeing a yellow flag. All right, Andy Swan, co-founder of LikeFolio. All right, Kevin, when you think about all that